Welcome to The Explainer. I am so thrilled to have you here today. In this session, we're going to do something truly fascinating. We are diving deep into the hidden loops and those invisible cycles of our dating lives, completely decoding the behaviors that keep us stuck. And we're doing this by using exactly what participants have shared through the live relationship pattern analyses. If you've ever felt like you're just running on a hamster wheel in your relationships, doing all the work but somehow getting the exact same results, well, you are in exactly the right place. Okay, let's dive into this. Just listen to what one participant anonymously shared with us. Instead of real connection, I keep accepting familiar that feels safe but not fulfilling. I mean, have you ever felt that exact way? This right here immediately validates a very painful collective experience. So many of us know exactly what we want, right? Yet we find ourselves caught in this repetitive dating loop where we end up accepting the almost version of love simply because it feels familiar. Familiarity has this insanely powerful gravitational pull on our nervous systems. It masks itself as safety, even when, at the end of the day, it leaves us completely unfulfilled. And that brings us to the absolute strongest shared problem reflected across all of these workshop sessions, the core dating gap. This is that painful, exhausting space between the love people say they desperately want and the reality of ignoring their own gut feelings. Actually, over 25% of participants explicitly stated they were just entirely done with ignoring red flags or overriding their intuition. It's a really profound conflict. Our minds know exactly what we deserve, but some deeper, older pattern steps in and literally causes us to negotiate away our own boundaries. To really understand why this happens, we have to look at the background foundation of the mindful dating framework. Now, this framework is rooted in a massive, separate 882-person study that spanned over 20 countries. And this foundational study revealed a striking truth. Across vastly different cultures and backgrounds, human beings report the exact same behavioral loops when it comes to love. They experience this repeated pattern they can't explain and definitely can't seem to stop. So, to put that into perspective, this data proves you aren't just unlucky in love. There is a quantifiable behavioral pattern at play right beneath the surface. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is our first section, repeating relationship patterns. When we operate from an older internal blueprint, we really don't realize that our energy is shaping what we attract, what we normalize, and ultimately what we stay available for. We start to unconsciously recreate dynamics from our past, completely thinking it's just the luck of the draw. I want to hold up a mirror to you using this exact participant language straight from the data, dating the same person with a different face. It is a chillingly accurate description, isn't it? The names change, the cities change, the jobs change, but the feeling you're left with at the end of the relationship is identically exhausting. The issue isn't simply who you're meeting on the dating apps. The issue is an internal script that's quietly managing who you choose to trust and what you choose to tolerate. You can see there's a really stark contrast between the dream outcome participants want, which is a consistent, calm, and mutually emotionally safe relationship, and the exhausting cycle they're actually repeating, which is attracting inconsistent or emotionally unavailable partners. You can have all the self-awareness in the world. You can journal about this daily, but intellectual awareness simply isn't enough to stop the cycle. It's like having the blueprint to a house but no tools to build it. Without establishing an entirely different internal baseline, the emotionally unavailable partner will always feel like exciting chemistry, while the calm partner will wrongly feel boring to your nervous system. And that leads us seamlessly into our second major theme, women's self-abandonment. This is exactly what happens when we quietly shrink ourselves just to maintain a connection. It's this invisible act of negotiating our own needs away, constantly managing someone else's comfort while completely losing track of our own voice and identity in the relationship. One participant summarized the staggering, quiet cost of this perfectly: overgiving to people who aren't giving back. Participants described trying to be the ultimate cure to their partner's every downtime, pouring limitless energy into a dynamic in the hopes that, if they just invested enough, the relationship would finally become what they wanted. But here's the thing. Overgiving doesn't build connection. It just leaves you exhausted, carrying the weight of a dynamic that was literally never meant for you to carry alone. And here is a foundational truth of this explainer. These patterns, they don't just live in our thoughts. They live intensely in our bodies. Participants shared exactly where this self-abandonment resides physically for them. It's in the chest, with anxiety, tightness, and holding your breath in situations that are actually supposed to feel safe. It's right there in the gut, where you know things aren't right, but you don't act on them. And it's in the throat, where you go completely quiet right at the exact moment you know you should speak up. You absolutely cannot outthink a pattern that is locked into your physical body. That brings us to our third and final theme, connection and depth. So the crucial point is, many of us say we want deep, profound connection, but what participants revealed is that we so often confuse intense chemistry and high-stakes emotional turbulence with genuine, lasting depth. We want to be known and chosen without having to perform for it, yet we keep finding ourselves in these situationships that barely even scratch the surface of real intimacy. Another participant captured this trap perfectly, describing finding yourself in situations where I invest fully before knowing if depth is even possible. People pour their absolute most precious resources, their time, love, vulnerability, energy, into a container before they ever stop to verify if the other person actually has the emotional capacity to hold it. You're going all the way in before you've established if there's anything real to be all the way in for. And the heavy, compounding cost of staying in that almost version? It's undeniable. When asked what this gap actually costs them, a staggering 75% of participants in the connection and depth session cited the version of love that could have been real if I'd chosen it differently. Think about that. The remaining 25% cited their time, energy, and peace. You see, waiting around in an unfulfilling loop isn't a neutral act. The pattern compounds on impact over time, literally taking up the exact space in your life where real love could have actually lived. Let's move to and see how this builds into section 4. Your personalized analysis. We've talked a lot about the problem today, right? The loops, the self-abandonment, the almost connections. But identifying the problem is really only the first step. The true value comes from a structured experience designed to locate exactly where your specific pattern is running so you can finally interrupt it for good. This isn't just a presentation you sit back and passively watch. It's a guided experience. First, you attend the live session. Second, you complete a structured guided form in real time alongside the host. You're actively participating in discovering your own truth. And finally, you receive your personalized analysis delivered straight to your email. This personalized profile is the true workshop deliverable. It shows you exactly what is happening right beneath your dating experiences, giving you the exact precision required to stop treating the symptoms and start actually healing the root. So I really want to ask you to look inward for a moment here. Which of these 3 pathways, repeating relationship patterns, women's self-abandonment, or connection and depth, resonates most deeply with your current dating reality? Where did you recognize yourself the most today? Because once a pattern becomes visible to you, you can literally no longer unsee it, and that awareness is the doorway to profound change. Which analysis reflects where you are? Visit mindfuldating.shop, select complimentary experiences, and reserve your seat for the next live relationship pattern analysis. Choose your analysis. Align